Hi and welcome to Whisky Apocalypse. So in this video I'm going to talk about auctions. Now, I used to buy a lot of whisky at auction. Nothing exciting because I don't buy really expensive whiskies. But what I did used to do was buy a lot of bulk stuff. So you would get job lots, 3 or 4 blends or 3 or 4 unfashionable single malts or a mixture of both in one lot. And you would maybe pick these up for the equivalent of about £15 to £20 per bottle, and you would maybe get one bottle of something really interesting. Things like, I got a McKinley's 12, which was specifically for the German and Belgian markets, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I picked up other things, so I used to do that a lot. And then there was a few reasons why I stopped buying at auction. One was they stopped doing the job lots. Very rarely now do specialist whisky auction companies put any more than a couple of bottles in a lot. And so that kind of put me off. The second one was, I think that the quality control of lots went down with some of the auction houses. And I'm not going to name names. But I bought one bottle which was, the seal was clearly tampered with. It clearly had been opened. And they got quite arsey about it when I said, look, this is fucking, it was opened. And they said, well, you saw the pictures online. I said, well, I did see the pictures online, but they didn't look like this because you didn't show you super close-ups of a quite clearly open label or a sealed. So that was disappointing. And the third thing was I bought a couple of fakes. And I don't buy expensive whiskies. I'm talking about Johnnie Walker Red Label, Johnnie Walker Black Label. It just didn't taste right at all. And they went off. I know an off whiskey when I taste one. Or I know a whiskey that's sat in the sunlight in a bar or something, or someone's kitchen for 25 years as well, getting direct sunlight to it. I know what those whiskies taste like. These were really cheap, nasty whiskies poured into something that then was resealed. That's not the auctioneer's fault either. Dodgy, tampered with labels and obvious things like that, yeah, that's their fault. Being sold legitimate fakes, legitimate fakes, obviously an oxymoron, but you know, if they can't tell. I mean, people have spent hundreds of thousands of pounds now on bottles of Old Lafroig and stuff like that, which all proved to be fake. And there was the hotel in Switzerland that had the really expensive bottle of Bell's or some shit. So, and I was probably quite lucky in the fact that there was whiskey in it rather than like tea or urine or something like that. So that put me off. And as well, the prices put me off. A few years ago, you could get a decent bottle of Johnnie Walker Black Label or Red Label from the 60s or 70s. Old White Horse, which was something I was really into. You could pick that up for £30, £40 a bottle. Then that doubled in price as they became popular, and it was the final nail in the coffin. However, recently I wanted to sell a couple of bottles, put them into an auction house called the Grand Whisky Auctions, who are not giving me anything to do this. And then there's that thing where you've put your bottles in, but then you end up spending half of what you've made from these bottles on new stuff. And I got some real bargains. And I think that if you are careful and maybe a bit lucky and avoid the fakes, you might be onto a winner. So I picked up this bottle of Old Fetter Cairn. I'm trying to show you. Old Fetter Cairn. And it's 43%, and it is from the 90s or maybe late 80s. It's a 70 sil bottle, which would indicate it's not particularly old, because it would be 75 sil if it was older. And it was excellent. Opened that straight away and it was absolutely beautiful. But you wouldn't expect to pay lots for that anyway. Another bottle I got was this, which is a Berry Brother and Rudd Sherry Cask Matured Blended Scotch, 44.2%. Now, I was lucky, I got gifted samples of all of these, and I liked them all, and try this sherry cask one and the Isla cask one. Really, really enjoyed them. So I bought them and I drank this a long time ago and got this, and I paid, you can see it sometimes on offer, but I paid just under retail for this. So that did good. That did well. And the final bottle, well, I bought a bottle of Bushmills, but I've drank half of it and then broke the bottle. So I don't have that now. I've got little sample bottles of it now. Paid 20 quid for that as well, which was an absolute steal. Came with 2 little tumblers and was brilliant. Is brilliant. Really, really good whiskey. And it's legit. So I don't know if maybe fakes of cheap stuff is maybe not, just not quite as important to fakers as it was. And the other one that I got was this. So this is Arran, 10-year-old anniversary, 10-year-old single malt, 2007 vintage. So a vintage whiskey. So if it's a 2007 vintage, it means that everything that's in this bottle came from 2007. So whereas this is a 10-year-old, so the youngest whiskey in this is 10 years old, but it could have older whiskey. This is all from 2007, and it is 54.2%, and it comes in a fancy box, which is a sleeve over it. All very nice. I'm not really into presentation, as you know, but this is nice. And this cost me £40 plus delivery, but shipped all in probably about £45–46, and that's less than the retail price for that. And I just wonder now if the auction market, obviously silly whiskey still goes for silly prices. Your committee release Ardbegs, your George T. Staggs, your Japanese Mayhem, all of these still go for crazy prices. But I think now normal bottles of whiskey, which people are just trying to move about or offload, or like myself, I'm currently selling about 20–25 bottles across 2 or 3 different sites to thin out my collection and to invest in other things, some of which I'll drink, some of which I will be saving up for another time. But again, I think that there's now a lot out there, and I think maybe stay away from the really big auctions that I've got thousands and thousands of lots, because I can't see how with minimal staff they can check them all properly. If they're getting a job lot, if I sent up 30 bottles of whiskey to someone, do I think I could put a wee Snyder in there? Possibly. So yeah, I think there's a lot out there now, and I think take your time, do your research. For auctions, my opinion, you go in when the auction first starts, you put your bids in and you walk away. Then, with an hour to go before the auction ends, go back, don't look at them because you've put your maximum in. But if you've been maybe outbid on them all, have a look at the bottom end. Have a look at the no bids put in, or really low bids, and you might get a bargain. That is how I got the 30 Cairn. That was sitting at about £15 bid. Stuck in an extra few quid half an hour before the auction shut and got the bottle. Really chuffed. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If there are other videos you want to see, do me a favour and put it in the comments below. Not bothered about you subscribing, don't care if you like it, but if you want to see more videos, put them in the link below. Thanks for your time.